I'm Dina Kaplan with the Illinois Holocaust Museum, and today I'm going to interview Dr. Diane Wulfsohn. She's an ex-South African, lives in Atlanta. She's been living in the States since 1987, and she's a practicing psychologist. So Diane, tell us what your object is.
This is handmade, and
Beautiful.
It's of Nelson Mandela, and if you can see the face.
Yes.
So this is very special to me. These dolls were made by people who knew Nelson Mandela personally, going back in their history. And they put these dolls together in the year that he became president. And for those of you who do know Nelson Mandela, he was famous, became famous amongst many other qualities for the Madiba shirt. So this doll is wearing one of them. It was a loose fabric shirt, usually with bright colors and designs. And this was his signature shirt that he used to appear in front of dignitaries or any places he visited. And it became specific to him.
And how did you come to get it?
Well, my beloved sister Giselle, who is a well-known photojournalist in South Africa. Sadly, we lost her to lung cancer 11 years ago. Sorry, not 9 years ago, actually. She gave this doll to me because she knew that I was very much connected to everything that was going on in South Africa, and especially when it came to human rights. So when these dolls came out, she ordered one for me. And if you look closely, he is wearing a special pin that has the AIDS symbol on it.
Yes, I know that. I have one, yeah.
So part of that, these were created to kind of address the AIDS issue in South Africa. But also it was well known that Nelson Mandela lost a son to AIDS, and that also he felt that even if when apartheid died, so to speak, with his coming to power, that the new apartheid, if you like, or the new levels of stratification in the society were to do with the AIDS epidemic, because a very large portion of people who contracted AIDS and who still are suffering with it are people who have been disenfranchised over the years. And even though they may now have the vote, they are still compromised because of health disparities. So this doll and the image that it projects is very important for me in that regard. I have a very whimsical side to me. So again, my sister, who was very tuned into my preferences, also on another occasion gave me this tea cozy, which has an image of Mandela on both sides. A friend of hers was making them. And the reason she gave it to me as well is because I'm very fond of afternoon tea as a way of entertaining friends and people that are close to me. And you always need to have a tea cozy to keep your teapot warm. And so this is something she offered to me on one of my birthdays. What is interesting about this image, though, is here Mandela is wearing a suit, which is how he appeared when he was first released. But as time went on, he was more relaxed and then wore his shirts. But in the beginning, it felt that he felt he needed to be more formal. And as he came into his own, that fell away.
He loosened up and he started wearing the Madiba shirts.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then I have a lovely anecdote that was told to me by a friend who had afternoon tea one day informally with Nelson Mandela and his wife, Graka. And Nelson had asked for some honey to be given to him at the tea. And the hosts, who happened to be one of the attorneys who defended him, George Bezos, who actually died sadly recently at the age of 92, he said to his wife, "I'm not sure if we have honey, but let's go and find some." So they go into the kitchen and retrieve this old bottle of crystallized honey. And that led to a whole discussion that Mandela had about how when he was a young man and a young boy, his mother would send him to the river to retrieve the honeycombs and bring the honey back to his little village. So it was just interesting that this tea cozy sort of seemed to capture some of it.
Together. He loved having his cup of tea too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the third object I'm showing you is also very whimsical. It's a set, it's a paper doll set, if you can see it.
Yes.
And it shows Mandela kind of where you can fit him out with different clothing. So here again is the shirt, the classical shirt. These two would represent that. And then here he's wearing a soccer uniform because he was a big proponent of the South African team and the game of soccer. But he also became interested in rugby later on, and that's a whole nother story.
Right.
One day when South Africa won the World Cup, he came onto the field and wowed the crowd at the time. I wasn't there, but I heard all about it. Mm. But there are many things about South Africa's creativity, and it's kind of, by having these objects in my home, it's kind of helped me with the transition of leaving my home, which is still very much part of my heart. You made the comment that I'm ex-South African. I don't actually use that term to apply to myself because I still feel very South African. So I don't regard it as something in the past.
It's true. It's true. I do too.
Yeah. And just a lot of what goes on in the country. My sister used to complain to me or to criticize me, saying that nostalgia is not what it used to be. But I am very nostalgic and I do get very homesick. And having these little objects around me, these props as my family calls them, does help me navigate this transition.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you.